Hi, this is Bishop Bob, and I'm here again to share TMCI 5 to 6 minutes words of encouragement and equipping. And today I want to talk to you about spiritual thoughts for leadership. Leif Anderson wrote, "Great leaders excel amid adversity. They do not resent tough times. They don't mark off the days till the problems are over. It's in hardship that we learn endurance. It's in adversity that we have our greatest opportunity to lead." I remember when I first read James 1:2, it says, "Brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trial." I thought, I must have misread that one. But the factor is that we grow most when we're in adversity. And we have to trust God for our solutions. Every success ministry will have some failures and some successes. But we learn from our mistakes and our failures, and we move on with God's help, and the ministry will continue to grow. Ministry will have high and lows. At one time, God's blessing and things are flowing smoothly, and other times we slow down and problems seem to be everywhere. Where we grow the most, however, is through those difficult times, as God continues to mold us into the person He needs us for the next upward call in our lives. As leaders, our job is to solve problems. In Psalm 1 through 3 is a good guidance for us. And it says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But he delights in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in season, and whose leaves shall not wither. And whatever he does, he shall prosper." First, we don't seek secular solution to spiritual problem. We seek mature, godly men and women that can give us advice. The Proverbs says there's safety in the counsel of many. If you have a team helping you, give them permission to speak the truth and love to you. If I know in my life that one of my team members had pointed out a potential problem that I didn't see. It's happened many times, and we avoid the problem because the people around me have spiritual insight where I don't. I have a blind spot, and if you don't think you have a blind spot, that's your first blind spot. You need people around you that will give you godly advice and help you in those areas. Second, we always base our decision on the Word of God. Proverbs is a great book for guidance on how to avoid problems and how to solve problems. Remember, we never bring a secular answer to a spiritual problem, but interesting, spiritual answers to secular areas works really well. In the last decade, a lot of the new businesses have started a new type of leadership, and we would call that servant leadership. It's what Christ taught. Christ said, "I came to serve, not to be served." Notice the results of following godly principles. It says in Psalm 3, "It brings forth its fruit in season, and whatever he does, he prospers." Now, some people wonder why they're having various trials, and this may ruin some people's theology, but the fact of the matter is God allows and brings us through trials to make us better leaders. I know in my life, I and my family have had many trials, but with God's help, we've got through them. And it's not long after that we run across somebody else who's going through a similar trial. But because we've gone through it, we can empathize with them and help them through that problem. For example, when my wife died, it was tough. But since then, I've had 5 leaders who have lost their spouse, and I was able to empathize with them and help them through the process of grieving. See, I'm reminded of 2 Thessalonians 1:3-4. And as Paul wrote about the Thessalonians, we ought to always thank God for you, brothers, and rightly so, because your faith is growing more and more, and the love every one of you have for each other is increasing. Therefore, among churches we boast of your perseverance and faith, with all persecution and trials that you're enduring. As the Thessalonians, we must have a good report when we go through difficult time in our ministry. Like the saints before us, we'll have trials. Many people pray for God to make things easy for them, but a better prayer is to ask God to make them a better person. We will go through various trials, and we will become stronger because of it, and God will be able to use us even more to further His kingdom. So my prayer for you today is that you have endurance as God makes you a stronger leader for His kingdom. Next week, I'll talk more about spiritual thoughts for leaders. Have a blessed day.